And a very pleasant good evening, baseball fans, and welcome to another edition of Klamath Falls Falcons Baseball on 104.3 and 960 Sports and on mybasin.com. The Falcons on the road here in Eugene, Oregon at Swede Johnson Stadium and Gary Selby Field for a non-league single-game affair against the North Eugene Highlanders. Glad to be with you tonight. My name is Josh Eldridge. Just a couple of minutes away from first pitch tonight as a couple of coaches meet face-to-face at home plate tonight, although not necessarily two head coaches. Before we get things rolling, Mr. Craig Connor, the coach of the Klamath Falls Falcons, meeting his son at home plate. The head coach of the North Eugene Highlanders, Tyler Connor, as they trade lineups as we near ready for Falcons baseball tonight. First pitch just a couple of minutes away. The Klamath Falls Falcons enter with a 21-6-1 overall record, coming off a couple of wins last night against South Medford. Today starts the first of 3 games on the road for the Falcons, as they'll play here in Eugene tonight and have a doubleheader against the Salem Dodgers tomorrow afternoon. As always, we'll be with you from now until the end of the road trip and when we return home on Friday. But Falcons baseball just a few minutes ahead. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll introduce you to both teams' starting lineups as we get ready for first pitch. This is Falcons baseball on 104.3 and 960 Sports and mybasin.com.
Pacific Power works day in and day out to power our communities because we know our neighbors rely on us. We're trimming and clearing branches around poles and lines, protecting our system, and giving you real-time updates when storms roll in. You can count on us in all seasons. 24/7, we're here for you. Powering your greatness.
The cars we drive play an important part of our everyday. Whether we're going to work, dropping off the kids at school, or maybe even on that first date. Vehicles we drive play an important role in all of that. And that's why at Klamath Falls Subaru, we are so passionate about getting you the long-lasting vehicle that you will love. When you come to our store, you'll find that every department is dedicated to caring for our customers, which is why I can proudly send anyone here knowing that they will be treated like family. Stop by and say hi. When you come to Klamath Falls Subaru, you're coming home.
Sports was kind of what defined me as a person. I loved to play every sport I could possibly play. The Abbeys was really the family stomping ground for all of our community. Saturday afternoon soccer tournaments, we'd head over to Abbeys afterwards. And then when we got up into middle school, on our way home, we'd stop at Abbeys after basketball games. When I go home, I want to see 2 things when I drive through Winston. I want to see my Abbeys and I want to see my high school. And those are the 2 memories that stick out the most to me.
As a parent of a high school athlete, I've given up trying to get pictures of my kid playing sports. It's nearly impossible to take pictures and enjoy the game. There is a solution, though. God's Gifts Photography attends high school sporting events in the Basin to take individual and team action photos at a great price. Search God's Gifts 2 on Facebook to learn more. They'll come and capture your athlete in action, creating those frameable lifelong memories so you can watch and just enjoy the moment. Call 541-281-2206 to get your athlete on their schedule. God's Gifts Photography.
And welcome you back to Swede Johnson Stadium on 104.3 and 960 Sports and on mybasin.com. Just about ready for first pitch as the Klamath Falls Falcons donning their blue uniforms tonight, taking on the North Eugene Highlanders, of course, here at North Eugene High School. Ready for the first pitch from Dustin Jensen. The right-hander delivers a strike to Carson Sims, the leadoff hitter for the Falcons. Starting in right field today is Sims. He'll be followed in the order by the shortstop, Connor Shively. Jacoby Takini is the catcher. He bats third. Colin Takini is the cleanup hitter, batting fourth. Hitting fifth is P.J. Safford, the third baseman. Ian Meyer is batting sixth. He's the designated hitter, followed by the first baseman, Corbin Hamilton. Ryan Glidden is in center field, batting eighth, and hitting ninth is Carson Pimley in left. Carson Sims fouls off the 0-2 pitch, staying alive in this at-bat after taking the first 2 strikes over the plate. Sims entering today, batting .486 on the season, picked up his 11th extra base hit, his team-leading 11th extra base hit of the season last night against South Medford. The 0-2 to Sims is rattled foul down the third base side. We'll do it again. A couple of 10-0 wins for the Falcons last night against South Medford, securing the season sweep of the South Medford Colts and picking up their 26th win overall on the season. That would be their 11th win in conference play. Here's a line drive behind the head of the second baseman into center field. Carson Sims starts things off with a leadoff single for the Klamath Falls Falcons. A nice piece of two-strike hitting for Sims, who struck out a couple of times looking, along with getting that extra base hit yesterday. So good to see him come through with 2 strikes to lead off the ball game here, and it will bring up Connor Shively. Talk about a guy who had a good day yesterday against South Medford. Look no further than the opener. Again, the Falcons wound up shutting out South Medford, thanks in large part to Shively, who finished 3 for 4 with 4 RBI. He also scored 2 runs in that contest as he takes ball 1 inside. Decent lead off of first for Sims as Shively readies for the 1-0. They check on him before he gets a chance. Shively collecting 4 RBIs last night. That's the 3rd time he's done that this season. 4 RBIs in a single game. He has 10 multi-RBI games this season. Here's the 1-0 to Shively. Swing and misses at it. The count goes even at a ball and a strike. Jacoby Takini, the catcher, waits on deck. North Eugene in their red uniforms today. They have got Highlanders written across their chest, cursive in white, with white caps and a red brim. Their white pants have 2 red pinstripes, more like racing stripes, sort of down the side. Is another move over to first, and Sims is back safely. This is actually the second game of a doubleheader for North Eugene today, as they hosted the Thurston Colts just a moment ago and wound up losing that game. I believe 8-5 was the final score. They were able to get the tying run to the plate in that contest, but wound up falling short to the Thurston Colts. The count, 2 balls and a strike to Connor Shively. After the leadoff runner got on base, Shively looking to follow it up here. Corner in, protecting bunt, middle infield, a double play depth. The pitch to Shively is flared out to left field and drops in for a base hit, hugging the line. Sims will stay put at second, and Shively gets that back-to-back base hit he was looking for. Is now a man in scoring position for Jacoby Takini. Takini last night in the win picked up a couple of RBIs, was 2 for 2 in the nightcap. Had a run batted in there, and in the opener was 2 for 2 with, 2 for 4. No RBI in that contest, although when he reached base, courtesy runner Chase Barrett came in to score each time. So Takini finding different ways to help his team in different scenarios. Here they're looking for a base hit. Here he sends one high, deep to left field. It's off the top of the wall. Sims, thinking about tagging at second base to go to third, winds up pulling into only third after that deep fly ball, and a hit which probably could have been extra bases winds up as a very loud single. As, again, the high fly ball like that, Sims thought about tagging up, and so he stayed there at second until he knew for sure the ball rattled off the wall. A good throw-in from the left fielder, Huff, held him there in scoring position. But 3 straight base hits to start the ball game for the Falcons loads them up for Colin Takini. Another guy who was solid last night for the Falcons in the opener was 2 for 2 with a couple of runs batted in and an early RBI opportunity here as he looks at strike 1. Takini getting the start at second base in this contest. He also had an RBI in the nightcap, finishing 1 for 2 with a run scored in that game. Pitch to Takini, line drive left field. The left fielder Huff lost it in the sun for a moment, but it drops in his glove. It's a fly out, but Carson Sims comes in to score. I think Huff really did lose it in the sun, just kind of stuck his glove out there like the kid in the Sandlot movie, but the ball just kind of found his way in there. So 1 gone and a run comes in to score. The Falcons lead 1-0 on the sacrifice fly from Colin Takini. Everyone else stays where they were. So runners at first and second now for P.J. Safford. Safford also, again, another one of those guys who had a fine night last night. 1 for 3 with an RBI and a run scored in the nightcap yesterday evening. It's the first pitch to Safford. Gets away from the catcher Whitwood and rolls to the backstop. Both runners will advance, and the count will be 1-0 to Safford, with now 2 men in scoring position. As Shively goes to third, and Chase Barrett moves over to second. Safford also picking up an RBI in the first game yesterday against South Medford. It was kind of the tale of two different games, even though the score, the final score, was the same in both of them. As the infield comes in now for North Eugene ahead of the 1-0 count. And the delivery to Safford is a line drive into left field, in for a base hit. Shively is going to score. They're waving in Barrett. The ball is misplayed in left field by Huff. Barrett probably would have scored anyway, but that certainly made it easier for him as a 2 RBI single for P.J. Safford. Makes it 3-0 Falcons in the top of the first inning. Seems as though they're picking up where they left off yesterday, although, again, a case could be made that the Falcons kind of ended last night in a bit of a hitting slump. They scored all 10 of their runs in the first inning against South Medford last night and wound up holding on for a mercy rule, a one-hit combined shutout on the mound by Corbin Hamilton and Hayden Poore. And by the way, Hayden has the start today for the Falcons on the mound as Ian Meyer, the designated hitter, settles in and takes the first pitch upstairs, 1-0. Next pitch to Meyer, graces the outside corner. The count even to the Falcons' designated hitter. But that 10 runs in the first inning, just in stark contrast to how the Falcons got it done in the opener yesterday against South Medford, where they scored 2 in the first, 5 in the second, and 3 more in the fourth. So they spread it out just a little bit more. The offense seemingly going a bit quiet towards the end of the game last night, but clearly here in the first inning of this one, the Falcons are fresh, coming off a long van ride here to Eugene. The 1-1 pitch to Meyer, again finds the outside part of the plate, and the count moves to a ball and 2 strikes. Not just for one game, though, as a couple of fans in Eugene have already made the comment to me, boy, you guys came up here this late at night just for one game. That's not the case. The Falcons play a doubleheader tomorrow in the state's capital as a pitch in the turf is going to be called ball 2. Meyer wisely laying off the curveball down below his knees. Playing a doubleheader against the Salem Wellcare Dodgers tomorrow, a 1 o'clock first pitch from Sprague High School. We'll be with you live here on mybasin.com as Meyer battles off the 2-2 pitch, fouls it straight back. It's a cinder block backstop here at Swede Johnson Stadium and Gary Selby Field. It's quite a lot of foul territory, but if a ball gets behind the catcher, it's liable to bounce right back to him in some scenarios. No padding on that backstop. But with how uneven that surface is, as Meyer gets plunked on the 2-2 pitch, he'll take first. And that will bring up Corbin Hamilton with 2 men on and 1 man out. But again, that uneven surface and kind of a cinder block situation, you never know which direction it may go, which can cause some chaos on occasion here at the ballpark. So Corbin Hamilton, as I said, getting ready to step in now. He saw his hitting streak end yesterday against the South Medford Colts. A 17-game hitting streak was riding high until Hamilton finished 0 for 1 in the contest last night. He only got 2 at-bats. He walked in one of them. And so, sure, he was maybe not very thrilled to be taken out of the ball game prematurely. He was replaced on defense in that game by Hunter Glidden. So Glidden came in, though, and did just fine for himself. Scored a run in 1 at-bat after, I believe, reaching on an error, if my memory serves me correctly. But Hamilton looking to start a new hitting streak today. So he's ahead in the count, a ball and no strikes after the first one missed inside in a brief conference on the mound between Whitwood and his pitcher Dustin Jensen. Go for the defense for North Eugene here in just a moment after the 1-0 pitch to Corbin Hamilton. It's a 2-seam fastball that finds the outside part of the zone, a count even. At third, it's Garner, Brittenham at short with Jerkowski at second and Hamilton at first. Huff in left field, LeBounty in center, and Johnson in right for North Eugene. The 1-1 pitch to Corbin Hamilton will have to wait as the pitcher Jensen steps off and looks Safford back to second base. He's got a fairly sizable lead out there, but Jerkowski, the second baseman, trying to keep him honest. 1-1 pitch home to Hamilton is lifted into the air, right center field. Coming in is the right fielder Johnson, nearly overran it, but makes the catch for the second out. Both runners stay put at first and second. 2 away now for Ryan Glidden. Glidden in the games last night got a couple of starts. I believe it's the first time he started both games of a doubleheader. Had an RBI in the nightcap of that contest, coming in on a sacrifice fly. And in the opener, Glidden picking up a base hit, going 1 for 2, and having a run scored in that contest. Big lead off of first here for Ian Meyer as the first pitch is coming up to Glidden. The pitcher Jensen set, high leg kick and delivers. Glidden takes the first pitch upstairs, 1-0. After Glidden in the order, it's Carson Pimley. He'd be the 9th batter to hit this inning for the Falcons, who've already scored 3 runs here in the opening frame. The 1-0 on the way to Glidden is in the turf. Kicks away from the catcher Whitwood for a moment. Safford on the move to third, and he dives in safely. And trailing behind him is Ian Meyer, who advances into scoring position himself. So a 2-0 count to Glidden, and a golden opportunity to pad this first inning lead some more and give Hayden Poor a chance to work with a commanding lead before even throwing his first pitch. Here's the 2-0 on the way from Jensen. Looked off speed, but snuck on the inside corner. Called a strike against Glidden to count 2-1. Center fielder for the Falcons settles back in, the elder statesman of the team. Put together a couple of really good at-bats against South Medford. Here's the 2-1 to Glidden. That one misses off the plate outside, 3-1. For a guy who's been playing baseball for some time, I think he's really starting to come into his own this summer for the Falcons. After a prep season with Klamath Union that not necessarily individually left a lot to be desired, but the Falcons who started the season, or pardon me, the Pelicans who started the season hot, wound up sort of trailing off towards the middle and latter part of the spring and missed the play-in round, which they had previously secured the last 2 seasons. So after that, Glidden comes out with the team, only joined by his one other Pelican teammate, P.J. Safford, who stands at third. And, boy, he's had quite a great summer in the limited opportunities that he's had so far. Pops one up to the right side in foul territory. The first baseman giving chase, and making the catch by the Falcons dugout is Hamilton to record the third out. Couple of men left in scoring position for the Falcons, but they score 3 runs in the top of the first inning. And Hayden Poor will deal next on 104.3 and 960 Sports and mybasin.com.
Introducing Smith Bates Marcom Solutions, your trusted partner in marketing and communication. We specialize in crafting compelling campaigns, eye-catching graphics, and impactful branding materials.
Smith Bates is like working with dependable friends. They always help us build our professional image.
Through the innovative strategies that the team at Smith Bates suggested, we've been able to give the brand at Calor the boost that it desperately needed.
Unlock your potential with Smith Bates Marcom Solutions.
What rhymes with great?
Participate.
Where does greatness start? Here, in the classroom. On the stage.
In the pool.
On the field.
Where will your greatness take you?
To better grades.
To more friends.
Yeah! Be great.
Participate!
It's the bottom of the first inning, and the Klamath Falls Falcons have taken the field defensively behind the right-hander from Henley High School, Hayden Poor. And before we take a look at his numbers on the season, I want to introduce you to the starting lineup for the North Eugene Highlanders. Led off in the order by their catcher, Riley Whitwood. Batting second is their shortstop, Carter Brittenham. Chet Gardner is the third baseman, batting third. Bodie Huff is in left field, batting cleanup. Kellen Johnson in right field, batting fifth. Hitting sixth is Jackson Jerkowski, the second baseman, followed by Kellen LeBounty. He's in center field. The first baseman, Cam Hamilton, is batting eighth. And hitting ninth is the pitcher, Dustin Jensen. Again, Hayden Poor on the mound for the Falcons, making his 7th start of the summer, his 9th overall appearance. He carries a 5-1 record through 31 innings pitched. 29 hits allowed, 9 runs, 7 of them earned. He's walked 13 against 27 strikeouts for an ERA of 1.59. And Hayden Poor, by the time he likely finishes this start, of course, expecting him to get off to a good start like he's done so many times this summer, but is towards the top of the team in innings pitched. He's only an inning and 2/3 behind Colin Takini, who, of course, pitched last night. And so Hayden Poor, as he gets across strike one to Whitwood, who fouled the first pitch off, looking to move up in that category as well. And like I said, his ERA of 1.58 is fifth best on the team right now, behind guys like Hamilton, Max Price, Hunter Glidden, and PJ Safford. But all of those guys, and especially Price and Glidden, have pitched significantly less innings. So he's been off to a very solid first half of the season for Hayden Poor. Here's the 2-1 pitch to Whitwood. Misses upstairs, count 3-1. As he falls behind the opening hitter 3-1. The one thorn for Hayden Poor, if there's been one at all this season, has been his walk totals. 13 walks is most on the team. But here's the 3-1 pitch. It's a sharp grounder to short. Shively gives chase, but it just sneaks by him into left field. And a leadoff single for Riley Whitwood. It's a way to start a rally if you're looking to come back into this ball game, not let things get too far away from you. If you're North Eugene, leadoff single down 3 is about as good of a start as you could hope for, really. And it brings up Carter Brittenham, the starting shortstop for North Eugene. PJ Safford comes in on the corner to protect bunt. He's joined out there in the infield by Connor Shively at short, Colin Takini at second, and Corbin Hamilton at first. The bunt is laid down. Safford comes up with it in front of the mound. The throw is made to first in time, and the runner from first, Whitwood, rounds second. They got him in a bit of a rundown, but Whitwood back safely at second, trying to get aggressive with no one there to cover third right away. Luckily, though, Hayden Poor won the foot race to the bag, forcing Whitwood to retreat to second. Effectively, though, that sacrifice bunt working as intended for Brittenham, as that runner moved into scoring position, now with one away for Chet Gardner. No real statistical outlook for North Eugene guys today, unfortunately. Talked very briefly with one of their assistant coaches. They had somebody running stats for them, but unfortunately looks like it trailed off about halfway through June. And so incomplete for North Eugene at this point. They don't even really know their own guys' stats, which, hey, look, that can happen. Ran into that plenty during the high school season. So just going to do our best we can with these guys from North Eugene High School. We know that for sure. All these guys from North Eugene High School. As the 0-1 pitch is fought off, the count 0-2 after Hayden Poor dropped in a nice curveball to get ahead 0-1. And looks like we'll come on out and have a conference as Coach Joe Takini comes on out to discuss things with his infield. I want to remind you that tonight's broadcast on MyBasin.com is brought to you in part by Gino's Cafe on East Main Street. Open every morning at 6:30, serving their famous breakfast burritos. Those are served all day long, along with other menu items like burgers, monthly specials, and Italian favorites. You can order online at iloveginos.com or have it brought right to you on DoorDash. The count is no balls and 2 strikes to Chet Gardner. The Highlanders have a runner in scoring position, down 3-0 in the bottom of the first inning. Aggressive lead for Whitwood off of second base as Poor misses outside with the 0-2 pitch. Count moves to a ball and 2 strikes. Now after Gardner in the order is the cleanup hitter, Bodie Huff. Colin Takini out there at second, trying to keep the base runner honest. Another great curveball from Hayden Poor, dropped in for strike 3, and that sets down Gardner looking for the second out in the first inning. Boy, he's got that inside curveball worked a couple of times in that at-bat against Gardner. If Hayden Poor can go front door with the breaking ball today, it's going to be trouble. Here's Bodie Huff for the North Eugene Highlanders. Pitch on the way is a curveball, flared out to the right side, but foul. Count moves to 0-1. The outfield for the Klamath Falls Falcons. In left field is Carson Pimley. In center field is Ryan Glidden. And in right field is Carson Sims. Sims shaded a little bit in and to the right. So pretty big gap there on the right side of the outfield. If Huff can push it the other way, which he did on the first pitch, although it went foul. He swings through the 0-1 pitch, falls behind 0-2. Poor trying to get out of the first inning, leaving that runner stranded in scoring position. He gets the signal from Takini and comes set. Set high above his head, and here's the 0-2. Misses outside with a 2-seam fastball to count 1-2. And with the Second baseman Takini also trying to be aware of that runner. Really a big gap on the right side of the field, all told. Here's the 1-2 again. Porgo's breaking pitch, and it's rolled over to third. Safford comes up with it cleanly, fires onto Hamilton at first, and that'll do it in the bottom of the first inning. A leadoff single for the Highlanders, but they leave the runner stranded as we go to the top of the second in a 3-0 ball game on 104.3 and 960 Sports and mybasin.com.
The innocence of youth. Is there anything any better? But soon they'll be in high school and facing all the same challenges you faced. How to make friends, how to fit in, how to be cool. We want our children to have everything they'll need to live fulfilling and productive lives. Make sure the kids in your family are among the more than 120,000 participants here in Oregon who take part in high school sports or activities.
At mybasin.com, we bring you the power of local radio,
the pace and reach of social media,
the information of 24-hour news,
and the excitement of local sports.
We do this with a team of radio professionals that is second to none.
Klamath Falls is a community that we love and a place that we are proud to call home.
Klamath Falls deserves a media group that is as committed to you as you are to Klamath Falls.
MyBasin.com is your go-to place for news,
sports, events, and everything going on at home in Klamath Falls.
It's the top of the second inning here from Swede Johnson Stadium, nestled at North Eugene High School in the Emerald City here in Oregon. Glad to be with you today. The first of a couple of games on the road for the Klamath Falls Falcons. A doubleheader coming up tomorrow in Salem before returning home to Kiger Stadium on Friday night. Leading off this top of the second inning in a 3-0 ball game in which the Falcons lead the Highlanders. It's Carson Pimley followed by Carson Sims. And then Connor Shively. That's 9-1-2 in the order for the Falcons as the first pitch from Jensen misses below the knees of Pimley and just a bit outside. Count moves to 1-0 to the Falcons left fielder. Set is Jensen, working primarily out of the stretch today. Delivers another pitch downstairs to Pimley, who gets ahead 2-0. Pimley 1 for 2 in the opener last night with an RBI against South Medford. In the nightcap, Pimley came in as a late substitution on defense, came in to catch a little bit in that contest, hitting in the 3-hole, but did not wind up with a base hit in that contest. But, you know, good opportunity for Pimley to get an inning or so in behind the dish. Here's the 2-1 to Pimley. It's a curveball, checks his swing, but he rolls it out to the mound. Fielded cleanly by Jensen. Underhand tosses to Hamilton at first, and there's the first out in the top of the second inning. Don't think Pimley really wanted to swing at that pitch, but by the time it made contact with the bat, it was far too late. Rolled it right out to the pitcher, bringing up Carson Sims. Sims 1 for 1 in the ball game thus far, singled and scored in the first inning. Right-hander awaits the first pitch, and it misses downstairs. The count goes 1-0. Aside from having a good couple of games last night for Sims, he's the team's leading hitter on the summer, batting .486 through the first 28 games of the summer. That pitch misses inside, gets ahead 2-0. It's the 29th game of the season for the Falcons. Sims has started all but 3. Actually, I suppose including this one, all but 2. Pardon me there. He has been a main part of this team's run this year to 21 wins. Takes a pitch that was called a strike there on the outside corner. Count goes to 2-1 to Sims as Jensen delivers. That one also misses outside. Sims ahead 3-1 in the count. Falcons scored their 3 runs in the first inning on 4 base hits. They left a couple of runners stranded, already near matching their hit total from last night, where they scored 10 runs. Here's the pitch. Sims lifts it high in the air, left field. Huff, it's going to be tough to get to, slides and makes the catch in left field. That was a fantastic catch by Huff. Can only tip the cap when someone lays out to make a catch like that for the second out in the second inning. Brings up Connor Shively for the Falcons, who's also 1 for 1 in the contest today. Shively singled and scored in the first inning. Delivery on the way from Jensen. Misses inside. The count goes to 1-0. Shively second on the team in hitting. Batting .458 on the summer coming in. He leads the team in RBI at 38. Although no opportunity for that here as Shively takes a strike called on the outer third to the lefty. Count goes even. And although he is second on the team in average, he leads the team in hits. 44 base hits this season for Shively as he rips one down the first base line, but it goes foul. Count moves to a ball and 2 strikes to the all-conference, all-state player from Henley High School. Shively's been to this Eugene area playing lots of different teams and lots of different sports for Henley High Schools. The 1-2 misses low. Think to Marist Catholic High School here in Eugene, in which Shively on the Henley football team has had to play the Spartans the last 2 years in the state championship game. Seems like there's been a budding rivalry between those two schools in a number of different sports, not the least of which is also baseball, in which we had to travel up here for a semifinal in Eugene against Marist that the Hornets unceremoniously lost the semifinal against Marist again this year, but not a familiar opponent in North Eugene. That's the opponent today, as they're a 5A school from the 5A Midwestern League. I believe that's the designation for their conference. Yeah, the Midwestern League, where North Eugene finished third in their conference. As the 2-2 misses to Shively, count goes 3-2. We'll talk a little bit more about Eugene's, or North Eugene's, prep season a little bit later on, but again, these unfamiliar meetings between the Falcons players and the Highlanders from North Eugene as the 3-2 pitch misses low, and Shively works a 2-out walk, being awarded first base, and it brings up Jacoby Tacchini. Tacchini also singled in the first inning and was courtesy ran for Chase Barrett, who would come in and score a run for the Falcons. Now another opportunity for Tacchini. He really put a lot of might behind that last ball he hit. Nearly left the yard over the left field fence, but probably didn't clear the fence by about 3 feet. A taller fence here at North Eugene High School. This one is a high fly ball to right center field. Neither the right fielder nor the center fielder called it off, and they let it drop between them. And a base hit for Tacchini will move Shively over to third, and now there's 2 gone with runners at the corners for Colin Tacchini as Jacoby picks up his second base hit of the contest. And the sun setting off to the right side of the field. Our vantage point here from the George Burke press box at Sweet Johnson Stadium is facing pretty much directly east. And so the sun setting behind us, it's going to be a problem for the outfielders until the sun finally does go down, but that's not going to be for at least another hour or so. Move over to third, switches to a move over to first, but Barrett back safely before the first pitch to Colin Tacchini. It's a nice night for baseball, though. 77 degrees. Was about 80 degrees when I rolled up to the ballpark today. A little bit toasty, but it's nice and cooling down here in North Eugene, getting away from the smoke that's starting to settle into the basin with the surrounding fires. So that is a nice little break for myself. As the pitch is called a strike, Tacchini takes, and Barrett gets caught in a rundown. In the meantime, Shively's going to score just as designed, but Barrett still caught out there between first and second. They missed the tag on him, and then they get him trying to get to second base around the tag. But the run does score for the Falcons. Just as designed, Shively touches home on the intentional pickle play between first and second. The Klamath Falls Falcons lead 4-0 as we go to the bottom of the second inning on 104.3 and 960 Sports and mybasin.com.
To reclaim your health and your autonomy. At Heartfelt OBGYN, they focus on you. Their evidence-based approach to care means fewer office visits and a targeted treatment plan to directly address your specific needs. They believe in solutions for their patients, not the industry's profit margin. The providers at Heartfelt OBGYN are committed to serving the community and giving back to the basin. Find them at heartfeltobgyn.com. Heartfelt, because you deserve to be in control of your body and your informed choices.
At Eisler Group, they are confident that their tax and accounting professionals are experienced and trained like no one else.
From individual, corporate, partnership, estate, trust, Eisler Group stands ready to help you with all of your financial, tax, and accounting needs. They have been in Klamath Falls for nearly 60 years, raising their families here and being part of the community. The Eisler Group can be found at eislerkf.com. That's ISLERKF.com. eislerkf.com.
It's the bottom of the second inning here on 104.3 and 960 Sports and mybasin.com. The Klamath Falls Falcons lead the North Eugene Challengers 4-0. Due up this half for the Highlanders. Pardon me if I said Challengers, used to the normal Eugene Challengers there. But the Highlanders have 5, 6, and 7 due up in their order. That's Kellen Johnson, Jackson Jerkowski, and Kellen LeBounty for the Highlanders. Falcons scoring 3 runs in the first, adding another in the top half of this inning. Now it's up to Poor to try to keep things where they are, with the Falcons squarely in control against Kellen Johnson. Starts in right field today for the Highlanders, and he takes the first pitch upstairs. The count is 1-0. Kellen Johnson just wrapped up his junior year with the North Eugene Highlanders as he takes this pitch outside. The count is 2-0. Highlanders this past springtime as the 2-0 swung on and missed. The count moves to 2-1. Highlanders, as I said earlier, finished third in the Midwestern League in the 5A classification. The 2-1 pitch is rolled out to the mound. Poor having to come off the hill to come up with it. Does so successfully. Throw on to first to Hamilton. First out in the second inning. Brings up Jackson Jerkowski for North Eugene. 11-7 record in the Midwestern League, 15-12 overall. It was good enough for them to earn the number 14 seed heading into the 5A state playoffs. The first pitch to Jerkowski, I believe, was swung on and missed. The count 0-1. Delivery on the way from Poor. That one came in and got him. And so Jerkowski is awarded first after taking that one square in the back, bringing up Kellen LeBounty. LeBounty also a member of the prep squad for the North Eugene Highlanders. LeBounty just wrapped up his junior year as well, and earning that 14 seed put North Eugene on the road in the prep season. They had to play number 3 Canby in the first round. First pitch is on its way to LeBounty. Stands in the right-handed batter's box. Poor will check on the runner at first, Jerkowski, before the first pitch. And he is back safely. Poor looking in against LeBounty. Checks on the runner at first as he comes set and delivers. Misses upstairs with the first pitch, 1-0. Now, the Highlanders, as I said, lost in the first round against Canby 7-0. Canby, as the 3 seed, would go on and make it all the way to the state championship game at the 5A level. As a pitch called a strike on a check swing there from LeBounty. The count is even at a ball and a strike, although Canby, when they made it to the state championship game, would lose against number 5 seed Summit. They lost 5-1 at Roto-Rooter Park. I believe that's the stadium in Kaiser. Move over to first, and back safely is LeBounty. Count remains a ball and a strike to the center fielder for the Highlanders. Poor set, brings the glove to his waist and delivers a 2-seam fastball, which is swung on and missed. The count moves to a ball and 2 strikes to LeBounty, with Cam Hamilton waiting on deck for North Eugene. Score 4-0 Falcons in the bottom of the second inning. 1 away and a runner on first. The 1-2 pitch, a curveball, lifted into the air, shallow center field. Coming in is Glidden, makes the catch for the second out. So with 2 gone, here is Cam Hamilton for the Highlanders. Cam Hamilton, taking a look for him this past season, just wrapped up his freshman year. The junior varsity Highlanders, where he spent most of his year, it seems, according to the OSAA roster. So So he'll be class of 2028. First pitch swinging for him, and he lifts it into the air again, shallow center field. Glidden this time able to settle underneath it and makes the catch for the third out. A base runner for the Highlanders in the second, but they leave him stranded as they trail the Falcons 4-0 as we go to the top of the third on 104.3 and 960 Sports and mybasin.com.
We drive play an important part of our everyday. Whether we're going to work, dropping off the kids at school, or maybe even on that first date. Vehicles we drive play an important role in all of that. And that's why at Klamath Falls Subaru, we are so passionate about getting you the long-lasting vehicle that you will love. When you come to our store, you'll find that every department is dedicated to caring for our customers, which is why I can proudly send anyone here knowing that they will be treated like family. Stop by and say hi. When you come to Klamath Falls Subaru, you're coming home.
Sports was kind of what defined me as a person. I loved to play every sport I could possibly play. The Abbeys was really the family stomping ground for all of our community. Saturday afternoon soccer tournaments, we'd head over to Abbeys afterwards. And then when we got up into middle school, on our way home, we'd stop at Abbeys after basketball games. When I go home, I want to see two things when I drive through Winston. I want to see my Abbeys and I want to see my high school. And those are the two memories that stick out the most to me.
It's the top of the third inning, and the Klamath Falls Falcons lead the North Eugene Highlanders 4-0. Still on the mound out there for the Highlanders is their starting pitcher, Dustin Jensen. He'll have to go through the middle of the Falcons order here in the third. Colin Tacchini, P.J. Safford, and Ian Meyer. Colin got a look at one pitch in the top of the second inning. That was before Chase Barrett got caught in a rundown that would eventually end the frame, but not unproductively, as Connor Shively came in to score from third on that design rundown, adding a single run in the top of the second for the Falcons. Looking for more here. So again, they lead 4-0. First pitch to Colin, misses inside. The count is 1-0 to the starting second baseman today for the Klamath Falls Falcons. Delivery of the 1-0 pitch, misses outside. Count moves to 2-0. Tacchini without an official at-bat in today's contest, although he does have an RBI hitting into a sacrifice fly back in the first inning. Helped the Falcons get across their first run of the ball game. Here's the 2-0 pitch to Colin. He swings and chases an inside fastball. Count moves to 2-1 to Tacchini, batting .342 on the summer for the Falcons. He does lead the team in one statistical category, and that would be that he has the most triples on the squad. He's got 2 this season, and he sends a fly ball down the third base line. That one rolls into the corner. Tacchini digging for a double, and he'll slide in there safely. Actually gets in standing. But adding a double for that one, he's just picked up his 7th double of the season. Puts him at now 10 extra base hits on the year, including his 1 homer of the year. A nice summer so far for Tacchini, and adding a double to start the top of the third inning. First extra base hit of the day for the Falcons, as they did it with all singles up until this point. It brings up P.J. Safford. But first, we'll have a meeting on the mound by the head coach for North Eugene, Mr. Tyler Connor. Be curious if he winds up taking the ball from Dustin Jensen here. It was a very cool moment before the game started today, where Coach Tyler Connor comes out from the North Eugene dugout. Coach Craig Connor comes out of the Falcons dugout, and they're the ones to trade lineup cards. Of course, Craig Connor's son, head coach of North Eugene. Just a very cool moment. We got a moment like this last year, too, with, at the time, Coach Pete Whistler for the Falcons being able to trade lineup cards with his son on a trip to Roseburg. It's just, this is what baseball is all about, right? I mean, even we've got a father-son relationship on the team this year with Joe Tacchini and Jacoby Tacchini for the Falcons. It's been great to watch them be able to have the summer together. There's been plenty of moments, just the two of them on the ball field. I think back to Alaska, where they got to the ballpark early, I believe on the second day, and shared a moment together behind home plate. The first pitch is on the way to P.J. Safford, who takes it off the plate outside. 1-0. But moments like these are what remind you why you love baseball. I think just about anybody out there on the field, and they're love for the game was birthed from their father or a similar male role model of some kind. As Safford lines out to second base, Jerkowski grabs it and tags the bag behind Colin Takini. And a 4 unassisted double play stifles some of the momentum for the Falcons here in the third inning. And it brings up Ian Meyer now with the bases empty and 2 away. Meyer was hit by a pitch in his first plate appearance, was left stranded in scoring position in the first inning. Here he hits a sharp ground ball to short, underneath Brittenham's glove and into left field. Just went right through the 5-hole there. And it'll wind up as an error, allowing Meyer to reach first, bringing up Corbin Hamilton. Extending the inning for Corbin. He's going to look to make him pay here. The .397 hitter for the Falcons. An opportunity here. He flew out in his first at-bat over to right field. First pitch to Hamilton here. Pops it up behind home plate, but could be playable for the catcher. And he brings it in. Whitwood, a challenge, but winds up ending the inning on that fly out behind home plate. One hit in the inning for the Falcons was the leadoff double. Couldn't do anything with it. One Highlanders error leaves the runner stranded. The Falcons carry a 4-0 lead to the bottom of the third inning. Back after this on 104.3 and 960 Sports and mybasin.com.
Pacific Power works day in and day out to power our communities because we know our neighbors rely on us. We're trimming and clearing branches around poles and lines, protecting our system, and giving you real-time updates when storms roll in. You can count on us in all seasons. 24/7, we're here for you. Powering your greatness.
Getting set now for the bottom of the third inning, a game in which the Klamath Falls Falcons lead the North Eugene Highlanders 4-0. It'll be 9-1 and 2 in the order for North Eugene this half inning. That's Dustin Jensen, Riley Whitwood, and Carter Brittenham against Hayden Poore on the mound for the Falcons. Poore ready to deliver the first pitch of the third inning to Jensen. Here it comes, and it's hit in the air to right field. Sims, over a couple of steps, makes the catch, and one pitch and one gone in the third inning. Here at North Eugene High School, nestled just right behind us, home of the Highlanders during the prep season. Talked a little bit about their prep year. Haven't yet talked about their head coach, Coach Ken Niles, who's not the head coach of this team, but is the head coach of the high school team in the summer. Coach Kenny Niles is the head coach of the Eugene Challengers AAA Legion squad. As the first pitch is going to dip below the zone to Riley Whitwood, the count is 1-0. The Challengers actually playing in an area doubleheader tonight in Redmond. That's why we are here at Swede Johnson Stadium. The Challengers are off to a torrid start to the summer. Was looking at them, and I believe they've won 33 out of their first 36 games. I mean, it's just been an incredible start. 2 of their losses came in league play, too. It's just a tough league. That's one of the reasons why the Falcons decided against playing in that conference this year and playing in the single-A classification instead. The 3-0 pitch is going to miss below the knees, and a 4-pitch walk delivered to Riley Whitwood with 1 out in the bottom of the third inning. So Coach Niles up there with them, but he has led quite the turnaround here at North Eugene High School. He took over the program in the 2022 season And that year, the Highlanders finished 11-15 under the first year of his stewardship. They actually hadn't had double-digit wins, though, since 2016. 5 wins in 17, followed by 7, 9, and 4 wins in 2021. Although, of course, take that with a grain of salt, as COVID-shortened season that year in the OSAA baseball season. It's the first pitch dropped in as a curveball. Brittingham takes it for a strike, 0-1. Runner on the move from first. Whitwood is going to wind up being safe as a hit and run was on, and a base hit into left field will allow both runners to be safe. Brittingham with a single. Whitwood advancing into scoring position. And still with one away, getting to the middle of the order, here's the number 3 batter, Chet Gardner. Coach Kenny Niles took over this program, the prep program, in 2022, as I said. 11-15 that year, 13-15 the next year. A step back, 12-14 in 2024, but crashing the postseason picture in 2025 for the first time as the head coach of the North Eugene Highlanders. Poor, with 2 men on, delivers the first pitch to Garner. It's lifted up to the right side, out of play, foul. Count moves to 0-1. Coach Kenny Niles has the reputation of a guy who will come in and help you rebuild your program. He had his first head coaching job in 2004 with a different school in the Eugene area, the Sheldon Irish. The 0-1 pitch on the way to Chet Gardner as Poor comes set and delivers. Hit on the ground, a third, foul. Count moves to 0-2. 2004, he took over a squad which finished 7-9. The very next season had him win 18 games. Had him win 18 in 2007 as well. 2008 and 2009, they won a combined 32 games in those 2 seasons. It's just what he does. As that pitch misses off the plate outside 1-2. And another thing is, that's not the only example of him doing that, joining North Eugene. It was at Churchill, and he did the same thing, another Eugene area school. As the 1-2 pitch on the way from Hayden Poor is swung on and fouled off. Count remains a ball and 2 strikes to Chet Gardner. Coach Kenny Niles took over Churchill in 2013. Now, he inherited a program which had been middle of the pack, kind of treading water, finished 9-14 in 2011, 14-10 in 2012, but hadn't really done anything special in quite some time until Coach Kenny Niles took over. In 2013, he finishes sub-500. In 2014, right around 500, but in 2015, his third year with the program, kicked it into high gear. 22-6 that year. In 2016, he was 21-9 with Churchill, and it all culminated in a 2017 state championship for the Lancers, a year in which they finished 28-3. He would go on to coach 3 more seasons with Churchill, finished with a record of 153-61 in 8 seasons with Churchill. That was his last stop before coming over to North Eugene. As a pitch comes in high and tight to Chet Gardner. Looked like he ducked out of the way for a moment, but a conversation between the umpires. The base runner overrules the home plate umpire and decides that that pitch hit Chet Gardner. And it advances Whitwood to third, Brittingham to second, and the bases are loaded with 1 out in the inning. Here's Bodie Huff, the cleanup hitter, looking to do just that. First pitch from Poor is a curveball, drops it in for a strike, gets ahead of this batter 0-1. Coach Ken Niles has also led the Challengers not only to Oregon State Legion championships, but also the Northwest Regional, of course. As that pitch swung on and missed. Count is 0-2 to Bodie Huff. Challengers first gained their Oregon State championship, I believe, in 2022, and have just been indomitable since then with Coach Niles taking over the program. The 0-2 pitch misses upstairs. Count 1-2. A lot of great baseball teams here in the Eugene area at the prep adjacent level. The 1-2 pitch swung on and missed. A big strikeout there for Hayden Poor, making it 2 away now with the bases loaded for Kellen Johnson. That is a big-time strikeout there for Hayden Poor after allowing the bases to become loaded on a couple of free passes with a single sandwiched in there. Kellen Johnson, who's 0 for 1, gets ready to step in now for North Eugene. Poor set with it. Aggressive lead off of second for Brittingham, but Poor goes two-seam fastball. Maybe circle change as it drifted away from the lefty, but still found the lower outside portion of the zone. Used it to get ahead 0-1. Takini delivers the sign to Johnson. And here comes the pitch. Curveball hit in the air, shallow center field. Glidden gets on his horse, makes the catch on the run, and that will end the inning. The Highlanders strand the bases loaded in the bottom of the third inning, and the Falcons lead 4-0 as we go to the fourth on 104.3 and 960 Sports and mybasin.com.
Threads. There are many threads that run through our region. There are churches and schools and Little League teams that bring us together and bind us into communities. There are roads and cars, there are houses and jobs and businesses, all woven together to make the fabric of our communities. There are financial threads that are part of that tapestry as well. For over 80 years, it's been our pleasure to be headquartered here, providing financial services to generations of our friends and neighbors. From that first savings account to retirement planning and all of the cars and houses and groceries in between, we keep your money local, investing it back into our communities, adding more threads to the fabric to make our communities stronger. Pacific Crest Federal Credit Union. Find your path.
Getting set now for the top of the fourth inning on 104.3 and 960 Sports. It's a 4-0 ball game in which the Klamath Falls Falcons lead the North Eugene Highlanders. 4 runs on 6 hits for the Falcons thus far, no errors, and they've left 3 runners on base. For North Eugene so far, no runs on 2 hits. They've committed 1 error, and they have left 5 runners on base. As we get set for the top of the fourth inning, it'll be Ryan Glidden, Carson Pimley, and Carson Sims due up. That's 8, 9, and 1 for the boys in blue from Klamath Falls. Glidden getting ready to settle in now. Ryan 0 for 1 in this contest. Popped out in foul territory in his only other chance so far. First pitch to him here. Pops it up again in foul territory, and again looks playable, though this time for the catcher, who settles under it, and Whitwood makes the catch. Overthrows the third baseman as they go to toss it around the horn, but, well, that doesn't matter much as the out is secured, bringing up Carson Pimley. Pimley also 0 for 1 in the contest today. Had a kind of an at-bat taken from him on a check swing. A mistaken hit rolled out to the pitcher. Pimley's going to look for a more confident at-bat here in his second go-around against Dustin Jensen. Jensen comes set, gets the sign from Whitwood and the delivery. Pimley rolls it foul down the third base side, and Jensen gets ahead 0-1. Pimley on the season batting .257, and not to knock Pimley here, but his .257 average is last on the team. When your supposed worst hitter is batting above .250, that's certainly a good sign as Pimley comes up empty there on the 0-2. As a team, the Falcons hit .353, which is about 80 points better than their opponents this season, who bat .279. Here's the 0-2 to Pimley. Looks at a curveball that drifts outside. Count goes 1-2. Again, never like to highlight somebody who's last on the team in something like that, but again, a good sign when Pimley, who bats .257, is last on the stat sheet as he takes a pitch upstairs there, 2-2. Pimley also has a home run on the season, so give that to him as well. One of 2 Falcons to leave the yard this year. Joins Colin Takini in that exclusive club so far this season. He's also towards the top of the team in walks. He's put together good at-bats, and this is a good example here, who fell behind 0-2, now works it full, and Pimley puts a deep one to left field. It is carrying. It is going to get down at the warning track. Pimley is going to wind up at second with a standing 1-out double. And there it is for Pimley. Really ran into that one, picking up his second double of the year. In scoring position now for the top of the order to try to bring him home. Carson Sims Bats here with Pimley at second. Sims 1 for 2 in the contest thus far. He singled in the first and came around to score. Otherwise, he flew out to left field. Huff made a great play on a ball off the bat of Sims. Here he pokes one to right, and that's in for a base hit. Sims rounding for second. Pimley gets the green light to score. He is going to get in standing in an RBI double for Carson Sims. He goes ahead and trades places with Carson Pimley, picking up the RBI, and the Falcons lead 5-0. Nice job taking it the other way for Sims. Didn't have to hit it particularly hard. Like I said, just poked it over the head of the first baseman, Hamilton. Rolled down the line a bit. Sims, who's all gas and no brakes, rounded first and got into second. Brings up Connor Shively. First pitch swinging for Shively. High fly ball to right field. Johnson over in the gap a bit. Brings that one in for the out. Sims tagging from second and dives in safely at third. And so a sacrifice there for Shively. And it will bring up Jacoby Tacchini. Tacchini 2 for 2 today. He's singled in the first and second innings. Chase Barrett, who courtesy runs for him, came in and scored in the first and got caught in a rundown in the second inning. It was by design, which scored a run. So Tacchini's done a good job helping his team out thus far. And another opportunity here with a runner at third and 2 outs. As the first pitch misses outside to Jacoby, 1-0. Jacoby this summer hitting .284 for the Falcons. One of only 2 players now who has started every single game for the Falcons this year as he grounds one over to short. Brittingham fields it cleanly. Throw on to first is in time, and that will retire Tacchini and retire the side for the Falcons. They do score a run off back-to-back doubles from Carson Sims and Carson Pimley, with the former picking up the RBI. A 5-0 ball game to the bottom of the fourth next on 104.3 and 960 Sports and mybasin.com.
So lonely, I just sigh and moan. Seems like I've been waiting forever, wondering if you're coming home. I just saw your face, I know you're coming home. I swear there is no place home. And then I heard your voice. I know you're coming home. I know you're coming home.
This is where unconditional love and immeasurable happiness reside. This is home. Coldwell Banker, where home begins.
Josh Eldridge back with you on 104.3 and 960 Sports and on mybasin.com. Bottom of the fourth inning, and the Falcons lead the North Eugene Highlanders 5-0. Hayden Poore getting started again, has pitched well through the first 3 innings for him. He's got 42 pitches under his belt thus far. Won't be able to go the full 110 today as he threw a few pitches towards the end of the game last night. Trying to find out exactly how many pitches that was. Trying to go back and look at my line score just real briefly. He threw 25 pitches last night, which leaves him at right around 80, somewhere in there. 90, I think, is what his limit's going to be today, if my math is correct, as he gets across strike one to Jackson Jerkowski. It'll be Jerkowski, LeBounty, and Hamilton due up here in the bottom of the fourth inning. Slider also graces the outside corner. Nice job there by Poore, using it for strike two. Jerkowski was hit by a pitch in his first at-bat. Was left stranded in that inning. Delivery from Poore misses downstairs. Count is a ball and 2 strikes. Been a good outing, as I said, so far for Poore. Only 2 strikeouts, though. He's done a good job of pitching to contact. The 1-2 this time got him looking. The slider just drifts away and finds the zone for strike 3. make it now 3 strikeouts for Poor in the first 4 innings. Now you get to Kellen LeBounty for the Highlanders, who's 0 for 1 today. He shows bunt, and he drops it right in front of Hayden Poor. Hardly has to come off the mound to make that play. Throw on to first in time for the second out in the 4th inning. 1-3 in the book, and it brings up Cam Hamilton. I believe this is Hamilton. Want to double check here. This is actually Lucas Schneider. Pardon me, as he's getting his first at-bat here in the spot of Hamilton at the 8-hole and at first base. We'll see if that's where Schneider winds up replacing him. The first pitch was called a strike. The second pitch also called a strike as Poor drops in that front door curveball like he's been using against these right-handers today. The 0-2 to Schneider. That one nearly got him. Tried to go inside with the curveball again. That one still wound up a bit too far inside for anyone's liking. And the count is ball and 2 strikes. Here comes Poor again. Another curveball. This time Schneider chases upstairs and goes down on strikes for the 3rd out. Highlanders down in order in the 4th, and the Falcons lead 5-0 going to the 5th on 104.3 and 960 Sports and mybasin.com.
Introducing Smith Bates Marcom Solutions, your trusted partner in marketing and communication. We specialize in crafting compelling campaigns, eye-catching graphics, and impactful branding materials.
Smith Bates is like working with dependable friends. They always help us build our professional image.
Through the innovative strategies that the team at Smith Bates suggested, we've been able to give the brand at Calor the boost that it desperately needed.
Unlock your potential with Smith Bates Marcom Solutions.
What rhymes with great?
Participate.
Where does greatness start? Here, in the classroom. On the stage.
In the pool.
On the field.
Where will your greatness take you?
To better grades.
To more friends.
Yeah! Be great.
Participate!
Josh Eldridge back with you on 104.3, 960 Sports and mybasin.com. A new man on the mound for the North Eugene Highlanders. Looks best I can tell that it is Cam Hamilton out there. The former pitcher, which was Dustin Jensen, looks to have moved over to first. We had a new addition in the last half inning on offense for North Eugene, although it very well could have been just to give Hamilton a chance to finish up his time in the bullpen. So I don't believe there are any other changes thus far. If there are, I'll clue you in just a moment. But it does give us time to look at the final line score for Dustin Jensen, who would be on the hook for the loss if the lead holds for Klamath Falls. He pitched 4 innings, giving up 8 hits, 5 runs, 4 earned. He walked 1 and did not strike out anybody. Colin Tacchini to lead things off for the Falcons. It'll be 4-5-6 in the top of the 5th inning. First pitch to Colin Tacchini. It finds the upper middle part of the zone. The count is 0-1. Tacchini in his first 2 at-bats had a sacrifice fly and an RBI in the first inning. Followed that up with a double to lead off the 3rd, although wouldn't get much out of that double. Wound up the victim of a line drive double play ball as the 0-1 is fouled off. The count is 0-2. Colin this season batting .342 for the Falcons. He settles in an 0-2 count. Here's the pitch. Tacchini swings through the off-speed pitch inside. It's a drop 3rd strike. The throw down to first is an errant one, and unable to make the play is Jensen. The catcher, Whitwood, underthrew the first baseman. It short-hopped him. Jensen did his best to knock it down, but couldn't recover in time. And Colin, who thought he was dead to rights, was more or less jogging down to first base. Once he saw the error committed, then he broke out into his normal run down to first base and wound up safe after the error. Second error of the night for North Eugene, and that's how he gets started in the top of the fifth. The lefty Hamilton delivers to P.J. Safford, who goes the opposite way into right field. The right fielder, though, makes the catch for the first out in the fifth inning. And this will bring up Ian Meyer for the Falcons. Meyer without a hit yet today, but he's been hit. He was plunked in the first inning, was left stranded at second. He reached on an error in the third and was left stranded in that frame too. Looking for a little bit more here in the top of the fifth, batting with one away and a runner on first. Here's the delivery from the lefty, Cam Hamilton. Misses upstairs. Count moves to 1-0 to Meyer. Meyer batting .298 this season. He's had a unique role for the Falcons, has played in the majority of games. This is his 25th game played, his 18th start in what is now the 29th game of the season for the Falcons. On the move is Colin Takini. He swipes second after the throw short hop second base. Now into scoring position in a 1-0 count. Was a 1-0 count. I believe that pitch was called a strike to Meyer, and it was. The count is even at a ball and a strike. But his role has pretty much been to be a DH on days where you got guys like Hayden Poore or maybe Hunter Glidden on the mound as he rolls one over to third. And a bit of a misplay over at third causes them to look for Takini in a rundown, and they get him there. The third baseman, Gardner, couldn't quite come up with it cleanly. Takini, the runner at second, just stared at him as they teach you to do, wait for the third baseman to try to make a play. Instead, they try to backpick him, realizing there was no play at first, and Takini, who was caught in a rundown, winds up being the casualty of that fielder's choice. And now with two gone and a runner at first, it's Corbin Hamilton. Move over to first, taking a look at Meyer, but he's back safely. But just to finish that thought on Ian, like I said, won't start every game, hasn't played in every game, but coaches have said that he is an invaluable part to this team. And those guys who are role players who aren't going to, quote-unquote, make the paper every time out, but are as equally as important as the guys who do, and that's the man standing over there on first, Ian Meyer. The 1-0 pitch is taken for a strike on the outside corner. The count even to Corbin Hamilton. Talk about a guy who does make the paper. It's a turn of phrase. That's Corbin right there in the right-handed batter's box. Like I said, his 17-game hitting streak ended his last time out, but the Alaska 529 midseason Classic MVP has seen his average climb nearly 150 points during that 7-game hitting streak. He checks his swing on a pitch upstairs and doesn't hold up in time. The count moves to 1-2 for Corbin Hamilton. Ryan Glidden is on deck if Corbin finds a way to get on base. Here's the pitch from Cam Hamilton. Misses outside with the breaking ball. Count is even. Even in the game in which Hamilton extended his hitting streak in the opener last night against South Medford, wound up with an RBI as well, 1 for 2 with a run scored. Hamilton on the season, third in hitting, .397 on the year. The 2-2, Meyer breaks for second. Hamilton pops it up in foul territory behind first. First baseman Jensen makes the catch, and that will retire the side. No runs, no hits, and a runner left for the Falcons in the top of the fifth. They lead 5-0 as we go to the bottom half next on 104.3 and 960 Sports and mybasin.com.
The innocence of youth. Is there anything any better? But soon they'll be in high school and facing all the same challenges you faced. How to make friends, how to fit in, how to be cool. We want our children to have everything they'll need to live fulfilling and productive lives. Make sure the kids in your family are among the more than 120,000 participants here in Oregon who take part in high school sports or activities.
At mybasin.com, we bring you the power of local radio,
the pace and reach of social media,
the information of 24-hour news,
and the excitement of local sports.
We do this with a team of radio professionals that is second to none.
Klamath Falls is a community that we love and a place that we are proud to call home.
Klamath Falls deserves a media group that is as committed to you as you are to Klamath Falls.
mybasin.com is your go-to place for news,
sports, events, and everything going on at home in Klamath Falls.
Josh Eldridge back with you from Swede Johnson Stadium and Gary Selby Field on the campus of North Eugene High School with a single game action tonight as the Falcons lead the North Eugene Highlanders in the bottom of the 5th inning 5-0. Dustin Jensen, Riley Whitwood, and Carter Brittenham due up this half for North Eugene. That's 9-1-2 in their order against Hayden Poor. Still working hard out there is the young man as he gets ahead of Jensen 0-1. Take a check of the line score on Hayden Poor thus far as he drops in a curveball to the lefty, gets ahead 0-2. Poor through his first 4 innings of the start today has only given up 2 hits. He's walked 1 and punched out 4 batters. The 0-2 misses outside. Count moves to 1-2. Looks like the sun is finally set here at North Eugene High School. Going to be a lot easier to play those balls in the outfield. Here's a chopper sent out towards the right side of the infield. Hamilton comes out of position to make the play. The throw on to first is going to be in time, but Poor's foot wasn't on the bag as he kind of stutter-stepped heading over to first and wasn't able to actually touch the base itself, allowing Jensen to reach on the play. That's going to be scored an infield single for Jensen and will bring up Riley Whitwood. Whitwood has one of the previous 3 hits today for the Highlanders. He's 1 for 1 after singling in the first inning. He walked in the third. First offering on the way to him. He shows bunt, pulls back, and does so in time. The count moves to 1-0. One-0 pitch. Poor comes set with it high above his head. The inside fastball called a strike. Takini can't squeeze it, though. And it's going to allow the runner to move up. And now into scoring position. Count a ball and a strike now with a runner on second and nobody out. As Whitwood awaits the delivery from Hayden Poor. Curveball just misses inside. Good location for Poor. He's relied on that inside curveball. That time, though, just missing. Takini goes out and has a quick chat with Hayden out there. Well, like I said, here's Swede Johnson Stadium, Gary Selby Field. Gary Selby, the namesake of the complex. He was the head coach at North Eugene High School from 1975 to 1998. Quite the long run, even though he never came away with a state championship. A plethora of 20-plus win seasons for Coach Gary Selby. As a hard grounder on the third base line makes it a 2-2 count to Riley Whitwood. Finished with a career record of 516, 185, and 1. Not quite sure where that tie came in as I look at his records on the OSAA archives page. Don't see any ties mixed in there. As the 2-2 misses upstairs, count runs to 3-2 to Riley Whitwood. But that makes him the, of course, winningest coach in North Eugene Highlanders history. Seems like guys who come here to coach stay for some time. As the 3-2 is a sharp grounder to third, underneath the glove of Safford and into left. They're waving in Jensen, and actually, no, they're going to hold him up on a good throw in from the outfield. Pimley with a bullet from left holds the runner at third. But on the throw, Riley Whitwood advances to second. So reaching on the error and advancing on the throw puts 2 men in scoring position now with nobody out, and the Highlanders knocking on the door of getting their first run across in the bottom of the 5th inning. They trail the Falcons by 5. Poor's going to have to wiggle himself out of a jam here. He did it earlier in the ball game. Flash you back to the 3rd inning when with only one out, the Highlanders loaded the bases. Here's a fly ball center field. Glidden makes the catch. Tagging from third is Jensen. The throw in is going to halt the runner. They get the runner trying to tag from third. Now they've got Jensen in a run down between home and third. Takini running him back down. No one is there to answer the call at third, so he gets back safely. But a base running miscue there for the Highlanders may have cost him, as that fly ball turned into a double play. Whitwood, who was standing at second, thought he was ready to tag and go to third. But when they didn't send Jensen from third to home, Whitwood was caught in no man's land. The tag applied to him for the second out, and now 2 away and a runner on third. And here's Chet Gardner. First pitch to him is fouled off, and boy, that is a real helpful situation for Hayden Poor out there as Coach Craig Connor comes out of the dugout. Don't think that's quite the double play you were expecting in that scenario, but you'll take it as Poor close to working out of this jam if Coach Connor lets him, as it could be the end. Actually, it looks like he's just out there to have a conversation. So while he does, want to remind you that tonight's broadcast on mybasin.com is brought to you in part by Howard's Meat Center, where tradition meets innovation with every cut and every bite of Smokin' H barbecue. As you step through their doors, you're not just entering a meat center, you're stepping back in time when the quality of meat and the depth of the customer service were everything. You can check out Howard's Meat Center next to Les Schwab Tires on South 6th Street, or Smokin' H Barbecue next to the Tap House up by Oregon Tech. The count is 0-1 to Chet Gardner with a runner at third and 2 outs. Hayden Poor remains in the ball game as he comes set, and the delivery jams him on the two-seam fastball. It gets fouled off to the grandstand here at Swede Johnson Stadium. Rows and rows of stadium seats, probably one of the better stadium atmospheres, I think, in the prep level at the state of Oregon. The 0-2 count on the way to Chet Gardner. Poor kicks, delivers, misses in the turf with a slider. Count moves to 1-2. Highlanders last won a state championship at the prep level in 2010, and that's enshrined here underneath the press box at Swede Johnson Stadium. The 1-2 pitch misses below the knees. The count is 2-2. Talk about guys who stay in positions for very long. Just wanted to continue that thought. Coach Corey Nicholson took over the program from Coach Selby in '98. He stayed until 2021, so another very long tenured coach for the Highlanders. And now, as they're manned up by Coach Kenny Niles in the prep season, I imagine that he'll be staying put for quite some time as well. One of the greater prep coaches in the whole state, I would contend. Here's the 3-2. Curveball away, swung on and missed. Garner down on strikes, and Poor does it again, working out of a jam to keep the Highlanders blanked in the bottom of the 5th inning. We'll go to the 6th and a 5-0 ball game next on 104.3 and 960 Sports and mybasin.com.
To reclaim your health and your autonomy. At Heartfelt OBGYN, they focus on you. Their evidence-based approach to care means fewer office visits and a targeted treatment plan to directly address your specific needs. They believe in solutions for their patients, not the industry's profit margin. The providers at Heartfelt OBGYN are committed to serving the community and giving back to the basin. Find them at heartfeltobgyn.com. Heartfelt, because you deserve to be in control of your body and your informed choices.
At Eisler Group, they are confident that their tax and accounting professionals are experienced and trained like no one else. From individual, corporate, partnership, estate, trust, Eisler Group stands ready to help you with all of your financial, tax, and accounting needs. They have been in Klamath Falls for nearly 60 years, raising their families here and being part of the community. The Eisler Group can be found at eislerkf.com. That's ISLERKF.com. eislerkf.com.
It's the top of the 6th inning here in Eugene, Oregon, as the Klamath Falls Falcons lead the North Eugene Highlanders 5-0. A check of the line score for both teams. The Falcons have scored their 5 runs on 8 hits. They've committed 1 error, and they have left 5 runners on base. For North Eugene, no runs on 3 hits. They've committed 2 errors, and they have left 6 runners on base thus far in the contest. Ryan Glidden Set to lead things off for the Falcons against Cam Hamilton. Now into the second inning of relief for him. As Glidden is 0 for 2 so far in the ball game. Has popped out to first and to the catcher in his first 2 tries. He'll take a look at strike 1 here to start the top of the 6th inning. Glidden, Pimley, and Sims, 8, 9, and 1 for the Falcons here in the top of the 6th as they look for a little insurance, up by 5 as Glidden swings through the 0-1 pitch, falls behind 0-2. Right-handed stick from Klamath Union High School. Settles back in, chokes up a bit, widens out the stance, keeps his hands low. The 0-2 on the way to Ryan is looked at for strike 3, an outside curveball. Glidden less than pleased, but the first strikeout casualty here in the 6th inning. Borderline curveball on the outside, but frankly, it's been getting that call all day long. The home plate umpire has been consistent today, if not giving a little bit on the outside. And that time, unfortunately, Glidden was the victim of that outside strike call. Now, his teammate, Hayden Poore, has been the beneficiary of those calls multiple times tonight. I'm sure that he hopes that they keep coming as the first pitch to Carson Pimley is fouled off. Count moves to 0-1. Pimley in the ball game so far is 1 for 2. He grounded out in the second, but added a double in the 4th, in which he came around to score, nearly left the yard on that double 2. Wound up just short of what amounts to be about 350 or so feet to left center field as he takes strike 2. The count moves to 0-2 to Pimley. It's 320 down the left field line. It's 390 to straightaway center field and 330 down the right field line. So a little bit of a disparity between left and right field, but straightaway 390 feet. The 1-2 to Pimley is a curveball that he hits the opposite way, out of play, foul. Count remains a ball and 2 strikes to the Falcons' left fielder. You won't see it in the stat sheet, but Pimley saving a run certainly in the last half inning for the Falcons. As the 1-2 pitch on the way to him will miss outside, counts 2-2. The Highlanders left a runner at third, and that's because on a error which wound up in left field, Pimley fired a dart from left field all the way home, halting the runner at third, who would, as I said, eventually be left stranded there, keeping this a shutout intact for Hayden Poore, at least for the moment, here in the top of the 6th inning, a 5-0 ball game in favor of the Falcons. Pimley able to work the count full, and here's the 3-2 pitch on its way. Hit to right field. Johnson, in a couple of steps, puts that one away for the second out in the 6th inning. Back to the top of the order now for the Falcons. It's the right fielder, Carson Sims. Sims is 2 for 3 today. Singled in the first, flew out in the second, but added an RBI double in the 4th inning. Carson Sims, the team leader, not only in doubles, but in extra base hits. The first pitch to Sims is taken upstairs for a ball, 1-0. Sims had his team-leading 11th double earlier in the ball game. 12 total extra base hits. Paces the bunch. The 1-0 on the way to Sims is swung on and missed. Count goes even now at a ball and a strike. Sims leading the team in average at .486 on the year. Also leads the team in on-base percentage at about 52%. The 1-1 misses off the plate outside. A curveball draws the count to 2-1 for Carson Sims. On deck for the Falcons is Connor Shively. The left-handed stick waits in line. The 2-1 from the left-handed pitcher, Cam Hamilton, drifts away from the right-handed hitting Sims, and the count moves to 3-1. Carson, not a guy who works a ton of walks, but is putting together a good at-bat. Here's the 3-1. Hits that one to the air to center field. Not going to be a walk this time. In fact, it'll settle into the glove of the center fielder, LeBounty, and the Falcons down in order in the 6th inning. We'll go to the bottom half next in a 5-0 ball game in which the Falcons lead the Highlanders Back after this on 104.3 and 960 Sports and mybasin.com.
We drive play an important part of our everyday. Whether we're going to work, dropping off the kids at school, or maybe even on that first date. Vehicles we drive play an important role in all of that. And that's why at Klamath Falls Subaru, we are so passionate about getting you the long-lasting vehicle that you will love. When you come to our store, you'll find that every department is dedicated to caring for our customers, which is why I can proudly send anyone here knowing that they will be treated like family. Stop by and say hi. When you come to Klamath Falls Subaru, you're coming home.
Sports was kind of what defined me as a person. I loved to play every sport I could possibly play. The Abbeys was really the family stomping ground for all of our community. Saturday afternoon soccer tournaments, we'd head over to Abbeys afterwards. And then when we got up into middle school, on our way home, we'd stop at Abbeys after basketball games. When I go home, I want to see two things when I drive through Winston. I want to see my Abbeys and I want to see my high school. And those are the two memories that stick out the most to me.
Getting set for the bottom of the sixth inning, and a new pitcher on the mound for the Klamath Falls Falcons is P.J. Safford. Safford making his 8th appearance of the summer. This will be his 4th in relief. Safford carries a 2-1 record through 27 and 2/3 innings pitched, giving up 28 hits, 14 runs, although just 5 of them earned. He's walked 5 and struck out 28 batters, for an ERA this summer of 1.27 for PJ. He's replaced at third by Ian Meyer. And Safford himself is replacing Hayden Poore on the mound, who would be on line for the win today if the lead holds for the Falcons. Pitching the first 5 innings, giving up 3 hits, 1 walk, and striking out 5. Another impressive performance for the young man from Henley High School, Hayden Poore. Now it's up to Safford to try to go the rest of the way for the Klamath Falls Falcons. He'll have to go through 4, 5, and 6 in the order for the Highlanders, and he gets things going with a swinging strike from Bodie Huff. Count is 0-1. Huff is 0 for 2 in the ball game today. He's grounded out and struck out in the first and third innings as Safford gets across strike 2. Notice one thing about PJ out there. He works very quickly on the mound. Huff had to call timeout before PJ was ready to throw. I think he also took off the wrist guard, perhaps. Rules are strict about what pitchers are and are not allowed to have on their hands and their wrists and things of that nature. But Safford, after eliminating the obstruction, quickly ready to throw and blows by a fastball by Bodie Huff. And that is 3 straight heaters, and see you later, Bodie Huff. Strikeout to start the 6th inning, bringing up Kellen Johnson. Johnson 0 for 2 today as well. They're making Safford, I think, take tape off of his wrist, perhaps. Not quite sure exactly. While we have a brief moment, want to highlight another one of our sponsors, and that's Pacific Crest Federal Credit Union, where they know that picking the right path can make the journey easier, the distance shorter, and can assure that you end up at the right place. Whether you're dreaming of owning a home or you just want a great checking account, Pacific Crest Federal Credit Union can help you reach your goals. Safford goes with a 2-seam fastball away from the left-handed hitting Kellen Johnson, produces a swing and a miss to get ahead of Johnson. The 0-1 is going to miss below the knees. The count runs even. Kellen Johnson with the North Eugene Highlanders during the prep season as well. Just wrapped up his junior season. He'll be a senior next year as Safford gets ahead 1-2. And the pitch is a slider rolled out to the right side of the infield. Hamilton comes over to field it. Safford makes the play at first, covering the bag, and that's the second out in the 6th inning. It'll now bring up Jackson Jerkowski. Jerkowski 0 for 1 today. He was hit by a pitch back in the 2nd, but struck out in the 4th. Meyer, the new third baseman, comes in to protect bunt as Safford gets across an inside knee-high fastball for strike 1. Delivery on the way. Here's the pitch. Goes slider, hit the opposite way into right field. Sims is going to lay out. He made the catch. Yes, he did. Oh, man. Sims selling out by the foul line to come up with an improbable catch to get out of the 6th inning. To the top of the 7th we go. And the Falcons lead 5-0 on 104.3 and 960 Sports and mybasin.com.
Pacific Power works day in and day out to power our communities because we know our neighbors rely on us. We're trimming and clearing branches around poles and lines, protecting our system, and giving you real-time updates when storms roll in. You can count on us in all seasons. 24/7, we're here for you. Powering your greatness.
And we're getting set for the top of the 7th inning as the Klamath Falls Falcons lead the North Eugene Highlanders 5-0 in this non-conference single game tonight from North Eugene High School, Swede Johnson Stadium at Gary Selby Field. Glad to be with you tonight. My name is Josh Eldridge. Thank you so much for choosing to spend your Wednesday evening with me here on mybasin.com. Connor Shively leads things off for the Klamath Falls Falcons. First pitch to him is nearly going to hit him. Thought it might have, but in fact, Shively turns out of the way of it, gets ahead 1-0. It's Shively, Takini, and Takini. First Jacoby, then Collin do up this half inning for the Falcons. Delivery on the way from Hamilton. Swing and a miss from Shively, chasing the outside slider. 1-1. Shively this season against left-handed hitters is been a little bit of a struggle for him, but he rolls one over to first base. Here Jensen sets him away, and more evidence of that as the lefty has done well against right-handed hitters this season, or right-handed pitchers rather this season. But when he faces those similar style pitchers, wounds up rolling over it there for the first out, bringing up Jacoby Takini. Takini is 2 for 3 today. Couple of singles in the first and second innings. He grounded out his most recent time up in the 4th as he takes a pitch low, 1-0. The Falcons have scored their 5 runs with 3 in the first, 1 in the second, and 1 in the 4th. Since then, been held quiet by this North Eugene pitching staff. Hadn't had a hit in the 5th or 6th innings. Takini looking to break that stretch here, though, as he's ahead in the count 2-0. To start the at-bat against Cam Hamilton. Hamilton set. The lefty steps and delivers. Pitch misses low to Jacoby. He gets ahead 3-0 with 1 out in the top of the 7th. After Jacoby Takini, it's Colin Takini on deck. The catcher Whitwood comes out to have a chat with Hamilton just very briefly. Allows us to remind you that tonight's broadcast is brought to you in part by Abby's Legendary Pizza. If you're looking for a great place to eat, head to one of Abby's Legendary Pizza locations for some of the best pizza in the Klamath Basin at 1919 Austin Street or 2226 Shalleck Street near OIT. Abby's Legendary Pizza is a proud supporter of our high school baseball and American Legion baseball broadcasts right here on mybasin.com. The 3-0 pitch to Jacoby Takini drifts away, and a 4-pitch walk delivered to the Falcons catcher will put a runner on with 1 out in the 7th inning. Out comes Chase Barrett, as is customary, into courtesy run for Jacoby, and Colin Takini due up now. Colin is 1 for 2 today. Had a sacrifice fly and an RBI his first time up. As he awaits the first delivery from Cam Hamilton, he'll have to wait a minute longer as they check on Chase Barrett over there at first. He's back safely. After Takini in the first inning had that sacrifice and an RBI, he had a double in the 3rd, and he reached base in the 5th after an error on a dropped 3rd strike. Here's the pitch on the way to Colin as that one misses upstairs. Count moves to 1-0. Colin has been out, though, after reaching second base both times on the base paths. Once in the 3rd inning, victim of a line drive double play where he wasn't able to get back to second base. And then in the 5th inning, wound up getting caught in a rundown on a fielder's choice. As ahead of the 1-0 pitch, they check on Barrett again over there at first, but he's back safely. P.J. Safford is on deck for the Falcons, hoping to get a chance after Takini here. The 1-0 on the way to Colin is called a strike inside. Barrett on the move to second, and they got him. Barrett's been caught stealing at second for the second out in the 7th inning. A close play, but a strong throw from Whitwood. It short-hopped the target, but tag applied, and Barrett goes down trying to swipe second. The count is 1-1 after that pitch was an inside fastball called a strike against Colin. And here's the 1-1. Takini sends a ground ball to the left side of the infield. Up with it is the third baseman Gardner. The throw to first. It nearly took Jensen off the bag, but a good stretch ensures the out. And the Falcons down in order in their 7th inning. But they carry a 5-0 lead to the bottom of the 7th. Back after this on 104.3 and 960 Sports and mybasin.com.
Threads. There are many threads that run through our region. There are churches and schools and little league teams that bring us together and bind us into communities. There are roads and cars. There are houses and jobs and businesses, all woven together to make the fabric of our communities. There are financial threads that are part of that tapestry as well. For over 80 years, it's been our pleasure to be headquartered here, providing financial services to generations of our friends and neighbors. From that first savings account, to retirement planning, and all of the cars and houses and groceries in between, we keep your money local, investing it back into our communities, adding more threads to the fabric to make our communities stronger. Pacific Crest Federal Credit Union. Find your path.
Josh Eldridge back with you ahead of the bottom of the 7th inning on 104.3 and 960 Sports and mybasin.com. A 5-0 lead for the Klamath Falls Falcons as they'll go through the bottom third of the Highlanders order. Kellen LeBounty. I believe it will then be Cam Hamilton and Dustin Jensen. Safford got through his first inning in relief unscathed. Strikeout, ground out, fly out. Looking to close things out for the Falcons. Pitch on the way is fisted foul. The count moves to 0-1 against Kellen LeBounty, who's 0 for 2 today. Flew out in the 2nd inning, grounded out in the 4th. Pitch is called a strike from Safford. Count moves to 0-2. A nice slider on the outside corner to get ahead of LeBounty, who steps out, steps back in, and Safford ready to go. The 0-2 fastball inside, strike 3-0, fouled it off. Just got a piece of it, and the count remains 0-2 to LeBounty. Safford eyeing the target from Takini. Upstairs with a fastball, misses high. The count is 1-2. Just wanted to say thank you again for joining me tonight live from North Eugene High School. 1-2 pitch from Safford. Slider is going to be a check swing. LeBounty held up in time. Count 2-2. Safford with a bit of a smile out there on the mound. I think he's thinking what we're all thinking. Instead, he goes inside heat, flared out towards second base. Takini, after a couple of hops, makes the play onto first in time. Road trip continues tomorrow for the Klamath Falls Falcons. A couple of games at Sprague High School against the Salem WellCare Dodgers before returning home to Kiger Stadium on Friday night. What a crowd we had last night at Kiger Stadium. I only got to peek my head out for a moment before first pitch of the opening game, as the first pitch to Hamilton misses below the knees. Count is 1-0. It's the second largest attendance we've had so far this summer. Hope that we can break that record on Friday night. Big games coming up on Friday night for the Klamath Falls Falcons. The 1-0 pitch misses inside to Hamilton, 2-0. Got a doubleheader against the North Jackson Royals, who the Falcons split with in Eagle Point back on July 3rd. Fly ball center field. Glidden has to move over to his left a couple of steps, but he brings it in for the second out. Come on out, support the Falcons Friday night. Those are vital games for the Falcons if they want to keep their dreams of a conference championship and a state tournament appearance alive. Got to pick up a couple of wins against the Royals on Friday night. So come on out, support the fellas. It's going to be a good night of baseball. First pitch swung on and missed by Dustin Jensen. The count moves to 0-1. Safford delivers the 0-1 pitch. The left-handed hitting Jensen. Two-seam fastball starts inside but creeps back over the plate. Count moves to 0-2. Falcons will have Saturday off before another home game. And that will be against Phoenix at Kiger Stadium. Ground ball to second base. Colin Tacchini is up with it. Throw on to first is in time. And that will be the ball game. The Klamath Falls Falcons wind up with a 5-0 victory here against the North Eugene Highlanders. We'll be back in just a moment to break everything down for you and get you set up for a doubleheader in the capital city tomorrow. Stick with us as a 5-0 final. We'll get the post-game coverage next on 104.3 and 960 Sports and mybasin.com.
Threads. There are many threads that run through our region. There are churches and schools and Little League teams that bring us together and bind us into communities. There are roads and cars. There are houses and jobs and businesses, all woven together to make the fabric of our communities. There are financial threads that are part of that tapestry as well. For over 80 years, it's been our pleasure to be headquartered here, providing financial services to generations of our friends and neighbors. From that first savings account, to retirement planning, and all of the cars and houses and groceries in between, we keep your money local, investing it back into our communities, adding more threads to the fabric to make our communities stronger. Pacific Crest Federal Credit Union. Find your path.
What rhymes with great?
Participate.
Where does greatness start? Here, in the classroom. On the stage.
In the pool.
On the field.
Where will your greatness take you?
To better grades.
To more friends.
Yeah! Be great.
Participate.
Introducing Smith Bates Marcom Solutions, your trusted partner in marketing and communication. We specialize in crafting compelling campaigns, eye-catching graphics, and impactful branding materials.
Smith Bates is like working with dependable friends. They always help us build our professional image.
Through the innovative strategies that the team at Smith Bates suggested, we've been able to give the brand at Calor the boost that it desperately needed.
Unlock your potential with Smith Bates Marcom Solutions.
This game is final, and the Klamath Falls Falcons come away with a 5-0 win against the North Eugene Highlanders. For the Falcons tonight, 5 runs on 8 hits. They commit 1 error, and they leave 5 runners on base. For North Eugene tonight, no runs, 3 hits, 2 errors. They leave 6 runners on base tonight. The winning pitcher for Klamath Falls is Hayden Poor, who got the start, pitched 5 innings, giving up 3 hits, 1 walk, and striking out 5. The losing pitcher tonight is Dustin Jensen, who pitched the first 4 innings for North Eugene, giving up 8 hits, 5 runs, 4 earned. He walked 1 and had no strikeouts. Couple of notables tonight for the Klamath Falls Falcons. Carson Sims was 2 for 4 with a run scored and RBI. Connor Shively was 1 for 3 with 2 runs scored. Jacoby Tacchini 2 for 3 tonight. Colin Tacchini was 1 for 3 with an RBI. PJ Safford 1 for 3 with an RBI as well. And Carson Pimley was 1 for 3 with a run scored. For North Eugene tonight, again, only 3 hits. They went to their leadoff hitter, which was Riley Whitwood. Their second hitter, Carter Brittenham, had a single, and the number 9 hitter, Dustin Jensen, had a single as well. Otherwise, a tough night offensively for North Eugene. Klamath Falls with this 5-0 win and makes it 3 consecutive shutout wins for the Falcons, outscoring opponents 25-0 since last night against South Medford. This win pushes them to 22-6-1 on the summer. Back in action again tomorrow, though, a doubleheader against the Salem WellCare Dodgers, live from Sprague High School. Looks like a 1 o'clock first pitch tomorrow. Got differing times here. We'll make sure of that. Game Changer says noon. Schedule I got says 1 o'clock, so we'll make sure to let you know. Keep your eyes on mybasin.com for updated standings tonight and tomorrow morning, game recaps and all the things like that. All the past live streams available right there on mybasin.com. Not only your home for Falcons baseball, but your home for everything else going on in the Basin, whether it's news, local events, or listening to your favorite radio station. Check us out online at mybasin.com. Want to thank everybody who made tonight's broadcast possible, both head coaches, that being Sean Teeters tonight for the Klamath Falls Falcons and Tyler Connor for the new North Eugene Highlanders. What a special night for the Connor clan, with Tyler Connor coaching against his dad, Craig Connor, in the dugout for the Falcons, and the Falcons come away victorious with a 5-0 victory. Thank you so much for joining us tonight as well. I know we had a fair few larger contingent back in the Basin listening tonight. So again, thank you so much for spending your your Wednesday evening with me here on 104.3 and 960 Sports. Hope to see you tomorrow again live from Salem somewhere in the 12 o'clock hour. But until then, once again, my name is Josh Eldridge. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. So long and good night from Swede Johnson Stadium at North Eugene High School in the Emerald City of Eugene, Oregon. Good night, everybody.